Hello and welcome back to the LEGO Millennium Falcon mega build. We enter into our 20th, 27th, something like that episode. It's crazy now. Page 408. It's not that much left. I'm getting towards the back end of it. I have to make some kind of small computer console, which, looking at this, I started assembling the pieces of last time and then gave up partway through, which is highly unlike me and also at the same time incredibly like me. So there's no one pretending to be me here, quite clearly. Where the hell is this piece? It's over here. I've already piled up like I've done this before. Alright. I need 4 of these. This is going to be a difficult one this week. I've got a very minor injury. I was playing my I was playing Ultimate Frisbee, right? And like an asshole, I went to catch the disc, just like that in front of you. Like the disc is coming, you hold your arm out, you don't move, and it comes in. You go like that, and you catch it. It's not, physically speaking, from like physics as in science, from that sort of standpoint, it's a bad way to catch a disc. Because you've got another hand that you could be using, so 2 hands, twice as likely. Grab it like that, whatever. You're more likely to catch it. You do it one-handed, you look cooler, but you're more likely to make a mistake. And also, if you do what I do, which is like you grab the disc and then you just absorb all the impact through your hand and flesh, it hurts. If you grab it and sort of grab it out of the air and take it, doesn't hurt at all, but it doesn't look as cool. And as you can tell, I'm all about looking cool in life. That's what I aspire to. So basically what happened was, I didn't even notice this happened at the time. This came in, obviously I went to catch it with my left hand. I'm not left-handed. I probably fumbled it, or more likely what happened was I went in with 2 hands and sort of used the left hand to sweep it down into my chest to catch it and cradle it so you can't drop it. Basically, the disc went in, hit the nail of my thumb. 2 options there. It can go down, the nail can cave downwards, and it will hurt, but not that much. Option 2, comes in, the nail caves upwards, away from the flesh of the thumb, creating a void that I believe traditionally was used as a torture method. You'd take a nice bit of bamboo and just shove it between someone's fingernails and hammer it home. So that's essentially what I'm dealing with. My left thumb, the nail has been, I'm going to say, partially separated from the flesh of the thumb, and it's left me with essentially a bruising under the nail. It's unpleasant. If you've ever hit your thumb with a hammer, it's like that, only obviously not as painful. It's not bad, man. It doesn't hurt now, but if I applied pressure, it sort of hurts, but almost in a good way. It's confusing. That's where I'm at. So this might be a painful one. So long as I'll be fine, as long as I remember not to use that thumb, which should be easy as it is on my offhand. But the moment you've got an injury like that is the moment suddenly you decide to do everything with that hand to compensate. Or maybe it's your subconscious is saying, we know that hand's bad. What we're going to do is we're going to reprogram you to keep using it, get the blood flow up, it will heal faster. Or, on top of that, it's like, we're going to make you use that one constantly so you're careful. If you use the other one, you might suddenly come in full speed with your injured one, and then you do an even bigger injury. All these are possible hypotheses, maybe. I don't think there's any way to scientifically prove them, and that's why I'm not a scientist anymore. Oh, that hurt. I got distracted. So I've been in a bit of a between games state at the minute. One thing I'm trying to do is I've got it in my head that I need to not save some money, but not spend some money, if you know what I mean. Like, my finances are confusing in that I get paid on a very irregular basis, but a fair amount. So I've always got plenty of money, but I never like spending any of it because I never know when the next amount will come in. So I'm very, very frugal. And every now and again I think I've been spending a little bit too much recently. It's normally if I have like 3 payments at once, it's like if I have to fill up with fuel one day, put money on my phone, and then also buy a sandwich, I see that and I'm like, spending too much, need to cut that down. So then I'll go lean for a few weeks and be like, won't buy a game for 6 months or something. I'm in that kind of state at the minute. But equally, I just finished playing God of War and I was like, now what? I need something next. And I was like all over the shop. I was doing Civ 6 as a palate cleanse. I always play Civilization between games because it's so good. And I also know it's a game that when I play it, it will fizzle out, because the best part of Civ is starting a new game, fighting for dominance, and then just getting past the point where you have succeeded on your enemies, and then not actually completing the game because you can't be bothered. That's what happens to me. You get in a Cold War with a Russian-like entity. You both build your armies behind your Iron Curtains. You're planning for like years on how to bring down your enemy. Then something happens. The Iron Curtain is drawn back, and you suddenly discover that actually you're like 50 years ahead of them in technology. You're building bombers and shit, and they've just figured out the musket, and you're like, shit, I'm gonna steamroll them. This will be easy, and they declare war on you. They'll declare war on you. Send like 4 men on horseback to try and take your capital, and you're just sat in a tank, and you just turn around and think, what are you doing? You don't even have radar yet. I can't pick your troops up on my radar because they're so pathetic. That's the state I was playing in. Actually, what happened was I was on a very very sea-based map because I'm a lover of naval-based combat and warfare in that game, and just navy stuff in general. I like building little island nations and stuff. So I had pushed forward with a naval superiority doctrine to the point where I built what was it? I reckon I had the technology to build frigates, which are a really good ship. If you're not familiar with Civ, they're like a turning point between like what's the word? Like, not prehistory, but like I don't know. They're a turning point in technology, certainly. And I was like, great, I've got these now. And then suddenly I needed a resource to build them. Niter is the resource. It kind of replaced gunpowder. That wasn't one before. But I needed that, and I was like, have I really got none of this in my empire? And I was looking around on the map. I was like, I guess I've just happened to be in like a hemisphere of the world where this is really uncommon, or maybe the map I'm on just didn't. It was like low on strategic resources, maybe. And then I looked further. I was like, I don't have the technology for Niter yet. I had to rush to that or trade it with a neighbor, which is really cool because it's not something you normally do in Civ. You normally like build out your technologies in a roughly even fashion. Every now and again, you take the hit and go for one that's like further afield in one specific area, and like leave behind something else. But you don't tend to do it. But I was focusing on that like the whole game, and it made it very different. There we go. Look at that. This is the bridge, isn't it? I've just realised what I'm making. This is the cockpit. This is where they'll sit. That's good. I was on that palette cleanse, and I knew what I wanted to do. Is I wanted to play a game that I'd had for a while on my radar to play, but I wasn't sure what. And what I immediately did was I downloaded The Witcher 3 again to finally, probably not finish it, but my general goal was I want to at least get to Skellige. I think I've played about, I had a 50-hour save, which I lost due to, basically it was because GOG Galaxy didn't have cloud saves at the time. My machine just uninstalled its own copy of Windows, just deleted itself and deleted everything off of one of the hard drives. And the only thing I lost over it was a bloody Witcher 3 save that was 50 hours in. So I lost that. So then it took me years to regain the confidence to play it again. What? Oh. Right. So I finally got back into it. I played it. I played just past the point I had in my first save. So I'm up to, and then I played like for 90 hours. So I never went to Skellige. I was still dicking around doing all the stuff on land, on the mainland, I guess. And then I just stopped one day for some reason, probably a good reason, but I don't know what. And then I was like, now is the time, I'll finally do that. So I downloaded that, promptly forgot about all of that. And I was just sort of sat around, I was like, I could go for some Just Cause 3, you know? I was like, yeah, that's good. I had a thing with Just Cause 3 where my old rig was an SLI based setup. Have I made this mirrored by accident? Oh no, just upside down. Yeah, my old rig was SLI based, and due to like the game engine that was unique to Just Cause 3, it couldn't properly utilize an SLI based rig, which is what I had. That just means I have more than one graphics card. So I had 4 graphics cards, but they were a bit old by the time I got to Just Cause 3. So together they could do it fine, but on their own they couldn't. It's a kind of a Voltron situation. So I played Just Cause 3 quite a fair bit, to be honest. I picked up like the version with all of the DLC, the Air, Land and Sea DLC, which is all great. It's all kind of variations on the theme, but it was good. And it's one of the few games where it's worth doing all the DLC before you even do the main game, because it gives you loads of just really cool toys to play with. So I just on a whim, I was like, yes, Just Cause 3, that's what I'll do. I've got a more powerful rig now, it should run better. That's a good idea. And I even opened the Steam app on my phone. I was like, can I remote install this? Because I knew it was quite big and would take a bit of time. I was like, this way, it will be there when I get there. Turns out I could do that, which was pretty cool actually. And I played that for maybe 20 minutes. I was like, oh yes, now I remember. Just Cause 3, it's a great game. It's really fun, but it's sort of a make your own fun situation. The game that's there that they want you to do, it's all right, but you've got to, when the game tells you, oh yeah, so you got to go and kill this guy. You don't want to just go and kill this guy. You want to drop a car on him from orbit somehow. That's what you want to do. Or like if you're hijacking his limo, you don't just want to pull in front of it, make him stop, get on the limo and drive it away. You want to get in a helicopter and tether his limo to you and do it that way. That's the way you're supposed to play Just Cause. It's actually the way you're not supposed to play it, but that's what I... Ah, shit. I've got a piece in the wrong place, haven't I? Ah, shit. This is going to be hard. This will be a difficult pull-out. That's how my brother was born. So I briefly played that, and I think just afterwards I was like, maybe I'll finally get around to playing Rise of the Tomb Raider. A game that I only played the first Tomb Raider because I saw videos of Rise of the Tomb Raider and thought, oh, that looks good. I already own the first one, I might as well play that. And I think I had the second one as well for ages. I was like, yeah, I played the first one, that was really good, really enjoyed it. Should have immediately just played the second one, and I didn't. And now I like the fact that the third one out, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, that's out. And it's like, now I can finally play Rise of the Tomb Raider. Be that far behind. I'm that patient in my gaming. So I downloaded that as well. And then like, when I sat on my computer the next time, I was like, oh shit, Witcher 3, that's what I was meant to be doing. So now I am back playing that. and I'm back into that. And it was really funny because one of my main memories of The Witcher 3 is I love the story. You get in there, that you're playing the story, it's great, and then it's like, well, I fancy a monster hunt maybe. So you go and do a Witcher contract, and then like you're done for the night, and you think, well, I don't really want to do any big quests or anything. I might just do a few like the little question marks on the map, or I might play a bit of Gwent, and then you end up playing Gwent for ages, and you're like, the main game is great, but Gwent, oh, that's also great. Particularly when you're like me and you're terrible at it, so you've turned the difficulty down to easy, and you've got a strategy that works most of the time, so long as you don't come across any characters that just have bullshit decks. So I'm back playing The Witcher 3, and I'm fully hoping to maybe finish the story. And it's what amazes me the most of all is that game's been out for, I want to say, at least 2 or 3 years now. It's been out for a while, and I am yet to have had the story spoiled for me in any way. The whole game's about the Wild Hunt, hunting down Ciri, and you're trying to find her first. No idea how it's going to end. Now that I've said that, I've sort of primed people to ruin it for me. Fortunately, I know no one watches this, and even less people comment, so that'll be fine. What am I making here? I've just got this. This can't be part of the cockpit, surely. Or maybe it is. So I've got that going on. I'm also in a love-hate relationship with Super Mario Party, in that I really like playing it. It's really fun. I think all the mini games are great. For the first time in a Mario Party, they've had the balls to make it so the mini games, some of them involve gaming skill, some of them involve like skill with motion controls, sometimes it's timing, but so many of them are like little logic and intelligence based puzzles sort of things, and it's brilliant. I played one the other day where it was just a square grid, let's say 10 by 8, and all that would happen was it would just flash up on screen. It would split the grid into like 4 sections, but they'd be like weird Tetris pieces essentially. And you would just have to, quick as you can, pick a piece that was the biggest. Everyone would pick a piece. There'd only be 4, so you sort of instinct go for what one looked like the biggest to you. And then it's just whoever has the most squares wins. It's genius. There's a certain amount of skill to it, but I don't think it's something you can learn. I think it's just something that you can be good at. I don't know. It feels like it might almost be educational. It's very clever. And there seems to be a shit ton of mini games, because I've played it. I've done, I think, 4 boards now. Like, let's say maybe 60 turns in total. I've barely repeated any mini games. It's good. And the extra stuff is surprisingly fun as well. It's like a nice little warm down. You have like your 20 turn or your 50 turn game or whatever, and then you just do the it's like, oh, that was good. Like we're not, the night's not over, but we ain't got time for another full one. We should play a bit of baseball. The baseball is surprisingly fun. There's very little to it, but it's very chill. Okay, that's good. The only annoying thing I've found is my current setup. I mainly play it with my brother, so there's 2 of us playing it, and you can't play it with just 2 people. You have to have the computer involved, which is fine. But the computer, its intelligence is debatable, I would say. There we go, it goes in there. So we play it on what is currently the hardest difficulty. I don't know if you unlock higher difficulties. We play it on with very hard computer opponents. We played it once with hard, and they were just like retarded. they were third and fourth in basically every mini game, and they were, when it came to like the final result, they were nowhere near us. So we clocked it up to very hard, and it felt like throughout the game they were making really dumb decisions. Like there was one point where the star was, let's say, 4 places away from a character, and they got this dice that just lets you flat out pick the number you get, and instead of picking the 4 that would have given them the star, they picked like a 2 and went like short of it by 1 or whatever. And it was just a very odd maneuver. Right, so I've made an error. This bit has fallen off, and now I can't seem to get it back on in what I feel is the correct location. There we go, that got it. But now I've ripped off several more pieces. This is my struggle. Oh, fuck. So that's what we thought as we were playing. And then what became evident when we got to like the scoring at the end was like, oh, so the computer kind of cheats a bit because it knows what the bonus stars will be. Because like, suddenly it's like, oh, you get a star for landing on the most red spaces. Oh, we wondered why they kept favouring landing on reds when they had a choice. Or there was one bullshit one where there was like an ally star. And I can't remember the exact wording, and it's probably obvious. It was like, who had the best ally? And I was like, well, only 2 of us in the game had allies at all, me and this computer player. And I was like, so we should both get a star for that, logically. And it was like, you did, the computer player, for some bullshit reason we're never going to explain to you. Fuck you, Ben. Am I done here? Yes. This is becoming the cockpit, isn't it? It's going to jam in here in a fashion that you can't see, but trust me, it exists. I'll pop that way over there. Right. Little yellow hinge. I'm loving the Mario Party. Yep. Okay, so that I've definitely already made an error here because I've got the hinge the wrong way. Brick separator to the rescue. So no, is it? I've combined 3 pieces and just got them so wrong you wouldn't believe. What happens when you get a brick stuck to the brick separator? That's the real debate, isn't it? Ah, there we go. Okay, I think this is correct this time. I don't know why I made such hard work of what is an incredibly easy maneuver. Long fin bit, I'm going to guess you. And there. Right. I'm actually living in the shadow of the Falcon at this point. I can't see what I need to see because it blocks it out. I'm really into Star Wars at the minute. I'm doing the audiobook still, and I've just finished listening to the audiobook of Rogue One. Apparently, like they fucking love the story of Rogue One over at Disney because there's at least 3 audiobooks based around it that I know. There's a prequel novel that I listened to before, all about June Erso. It's like Jun, but they pronounce it like just like halfway between June and Jun, and it's like subtle differences every time to make me not remember how to say it. There's a prequel one about her, which is set. It starts with her parents being shot and then ends with her on Webani, the prison planet, where I've now learned that she was going to die there. She hadn't been sentenced to death. She'd been sentenced to just work there for 5 years, and it was a known fact that you could maybe survive there for 2 or 3 years. They would work you to death. And it was a miserable place to be. So there was that one. I've just done the Rogue One, which is the novelization of the film. It follows the film very closely. And to be honest, it enhances the film substantially. Like it fleshes out a lot of the characters. It tells you shit that I didn't realise. A big one for me was that You know the coolest two characters in Rogue One? Okay, I've made a mistake there, because the coolest character in Rogue One is probably K2SO. Actually, no, he's the favourite, isn't he? The coolest one is Chirrut, the blind guardian of the Wills, who you think, is he a Jedi? He's kind of Jedi-esque, isn't he? He's not a Jedi, is the answer. He's like a failed Jedi, would be the best. He's a dropout. It's like, you couldn't quite make Jedi, you can make this. He's a guardian of the Wills, I think, or the Wells. I can't remember what they say. And him and Baze, the guy that you remember because he has the big cannon and the backpack for the cannon, and you think, well, if that cannon's got a backpack, that must be a powerful cannon. And the fact that they call it a cannon and not a gun's also a good sign, isn't it? Baze, his name, or Baz, it's Baze. They're brothers, apparently. I don't know if it's like, you know, they're brothers as in, you know, we've been friends forever, we're a team, we're brothers. Or if it's, you know, your mum fucked my dad, we're brothers. That sort of system. I don't know which way it is. But I didn't get that in the film. I don't know if it was a factor or not. And you learn more about them. Like, a big thing you realise is, why were they involved in any way? Like, in the film, Chirrut just sort of rocks up and saves them from being attacked. Baze goes along with it. And then suddenly they get taken prisoner by Saw Gerrera. And then they get saved by Jun and K2SO. They jump on ship with them for some reason. And then they're just hanging out with them, which is fine. But then when they get to Yavin, and they're going off on their suicide mission, they just join up. Like, it's almost like they join up just because they're characters in the film. Turns out the reason they do it is because Jeddah, the city that got attacked by the Death Star, was in fact their home city, the city they've been guarding their entire lives, the city they loved. And they're trying to avenge it, which is obvious, but I didn't get it at all, because there's a lot going on in the Rogue One film. It's very layered, apparently. Well, this is very true with a lot of films like that. If you read the novelization, normally it enhances it loads, but it turns you into an arsehole because you become the sort of person who says, yeah, but see, if you read the book, this becomes much deeper. And then other people say that a film's got to be good on its own. It can't be good if you read a 200-page novel about it as well. But to them, I say I have too much spare time on my hands to enjoy things. Okay, I've made this currently. Oh, it can move, right. And now I attach this to here. On this corner. Yep, so we've now got this sort of assembly. So yeah, that's going to come into it. So there's the Rogue One story, which is very good. I enjoyed it immensely. I didn't think I would to start with, because I didn't really like Rogue One, the film, that much. But it's very much like the film, where the first half of the film is just not that good. Saw Gerrera is a really weird character. You don't know why you care about him. He's kind of a dick. And Forrest Whitaker's portrayal is questionable. Little June, I love you. Why come back to me? That's what I remember of his portrayal. I don't know if that's actually the case. Alright, so I need this brick to go on here or here. No, lines up square. Okay. And a little flat bit of indiscriminate size, or 4 to be exact. Yeah, because the first part of that film, yeah, it's not great, and then the second half it really picks up when it's kind of when the action starts on Scarif, isn't it? And like suddenly it turns into the war movie, and the space combat scenes in that film are probably the best there is, and the book sort of, it goes into more detail about it, and you get more technical which is really cool. You get stuff like how a big factor of the Rebel Alliance is that they don't have like all the same ships. They've got X-wings, they've got Y-wings. None of the large capital ships are really the same. The whole reason that Mon Calamari Admiral is there because he knows for a fact like if the Empire has a planet-killing weapon, they are gonna blow up Mon Cala, where the Mon Calamari come from, just because they've been a thorn in the Empire's side for ages and have never been pacified properly. So he's like, well, I 100% have to go and do this because otherwise my planet will get blown up. Right, so I've done that. And now to build something entirely different. Stick that over there again. This seems to require roughly 200 pieces. But soon I will be adding this kind of canopy to it, so that'll be exciting. So I've now discovered there is a third book, possibly called Catalyst. Catalyst : a Rogue One story, I think might be the actual title of it. And it's yet another Rogue One focused story, which is fine. I'm looking forward to it immensely. And I really like the fact that because they got rid of all the Star Wars canon, it's kind of easier to do it all, you know? And you don't have to know like years of backstory when a character walks up. It's like if you've seen all the films, you've got a pretty solid idea of any of it. Whereas I feel that it used to be so hard keeping up with the canon, you'd have no idea. I don't know who Ulic Qel-Droma is. I can't remember. Did he find a mask in a cave? Who's this other guy? Jedi can have wives now? What's this all about? I'm talking about the Old Republic, of course. Heaven help you if you want to read a book about Han Solo. Right, I need a phone. There we are. It's literally a small Lego bit that looks exactly like an old phone headset. Right, I think I've gathered all the pieces I'll need, and now I have to assemble them all at once. Okay, there we are. There we go. I'm getting there. Yeah, so there's this other book called Catalyst. I think it might be... I reckon it's about Krennic, and I think it's maybe about the building of the Death Star, but I'm not certain. I look forward to being surprised as to what it's been about. What I particularly like about Star Wars books is that they're like the male equivalent of like trashy romance novels is the best way I can describe them. Or in fact, to be even more along those lines, it's like the nerdy equivalent of Jack Reacher or a lot of Tom Clancy stuff. Or I feel like there's a bigger one I can't think of. Jack Reacher is a good example. Jack Reacher is the books your dad reads on holiday, aren't they? Like, they're not good books. They're all kind of the same. If you're going to make a Jack Reacher film, you could base it on one book or you can base it on 20, and it's basically the same, isn't it? They're like New Age James Bond. Having not read any James Bond, I don't know how good the books actually are. I suspect not very, because you don't often see many like big fans of the books. Ever. Okay, I've made this. No idea. Apparently it goes on here though, so I'm sure this will all amount to something very Falcon-esque. How does it mount? It's a very odd perspective. I'm trying to match it so that I can actually get it. Does it go down here? Yeah, oh, I see. It goes much lower than I realised. Normally, if you look at these drawings and you can latch onto one piece in relation to another, you can get it spot on. But if you try and look at it as a whole, that's where you run into issues. Huh? I'm looking for little pre-printed pieces now. Good, got them. So where do these... Wait a tick. Oh, right, okay. I'm now making... When people are stood up in the Falcon by the door and you look around them and you see... shit. Yeah, and you see like sort of banks of old computers where it's very much just loads of lit up buttons. That's what I'm currently making. This would be so much easier if I had both of my thumbs in working order. Alas. That seems to be a huge factor when I'm doing this, that my hands are in some way injured. I feel I should start looking after my hands better. Although, weirdly, I work a manual job. I could easily injure myself at work. I'm so strict with my PPE and my health and safety. I never have work-related injuries, ever. It's just playing sport in my own time where I fuck up my hands all the time. Right, so now I need these two pieces. And okay, I see how this is. I've actually, on the other Falcons I've built, I've done this step before where you put these two together and you're surprised by the fact that nothing actually holds them together, and you attach it like that, but that doesn't actually do anything. It's only when you put this front nose bit on is that it gains any kind of stability. This is the front nose bit I've just discovered. And it's actually held in place by these two little bits, contrary to normal design. Right, let's see, so that goes... Now there's a debate, should I could put the minifigs in now, because generally these cockpits don't actually open on a hinge, you just have to take them apart when you want to put stuff in and out. But I'm not going to do that. I'll save that for a rainy day, won't I? Okay, is that... It's not quite there. Oh, shit. Shit. Alright, I've saved it. If you're going to push down on something, make sure it's something that can be pushed down upon. Right, so take that bit off. There we go, right. It's like an ancient riddle. You can force one on when the other's off, but you can't force it on when they're both on. Right. Okay, that's good and secure. Now, if I add these two bits, it will become airtight, capable of surviving the harsh atmospheres of space. I'm going to line that up properly as well. Okay, that's pretty good on there. It felt like something fell off, but I think what I heard was this hitting that. I can't see anything. All right, that's very much the cockpit, isn't it? Yeah. I knew it was going to appear out of here, but couldn't really see it until now. Now I'm going to build off all like the little grey bits surrounding it. It's gonna really come into its own. I don't know why I said come so aggressively then. It was I noticed it as well. Had a slightly awkward moment the other night where I was giving someone a lift to their home, or rather I was giving someone a lift somewhere, and he asked me if I could drop his missus off for him at their home. I was like, yeah, it's no problem. It wasn't overly out of the way. It was maybe 30 seconds out of the way. And for some reason, I've got a very good memory for people's names, places, things like that. So I happen to remember like precisely where they lived, despite having been there once, like 2 years prior. And I'm not overly from the area. I was like, what's weirder here? Do I let on that do I just drive straight to their house and they're like, Ben, how do you know where we live? Or do I fake it and like just pretend I didn't? I was like, I'll opt for the pretend I don't remember situation, because I can't have people realise quite how odd I am as a person. And that was my slightly awkward moment. So it probably doesn't sound awkward when I retell the tale because I'm an oddly awkward person. Am I missing a piece? Oh, I see. That's what's throwing me off. I've got these two pieces that in my mind were exactly the same, but actually one is quite clearly literally twice the size of the other. They're just little curves that you can't see, but they're definitely in my hands. These instructions are difficult, to say the least. But I think I've got it sorted now. Oh, nearly lost the bastard then. That could have been tragic. Alright, so this goes... Oh, it slots in. Cheeky. I like those slots. They're very secure and you don't have to apply too much pressure to get them in. It's basically when parts are held together by the round pegs instead of the more traditional Lego bricks that they normally have. Right. And these, what the heck? Oh, Christ. This is a very complicated assembly here. I don't know how to begin to describe it. So I won't. And that hooks on there. What have I seen film-wise since I last spoke? I might have seen Bad Times at the El Royale. I can't remember if I've spoken about it or not. I saw it, and then the next day I read that it had flopped. It was like a box office flop, which is a shame because it was a good film, but I can kind of understand why. And someone asked me what the film is and what it's about, and I found it very difficult to describe it for a while, and then I realised the way you describe it is it's like Quentin Tarantino. It's like Tarantino light, is what I would say. It's not as good as Tarantino, but that's as close as you'll get. If he was a genre, that's the genre the film is in. If you like Tarantino, go and watch it. It's good. If you don't, you probably won't like it. But it's not as good. Like, it's not anywhere close to as good. They just can't. There's a certain flair that Tarantino has that some people love, some people hate, and the film just doesn't have it. Every piece I'm looking for now is very similar. So I keep picking a piece up thinking, oh, I've got it. And it's like the same as what I've already picked up. And it's doing my head in. A little revolver there for some reason. Top row done. Okay, 2 of these studs. Yeah, I'm getting there. No, damn it, you bastard. Fuck me. Where the fuck? Have I already got it? No. Where the fuck are you? You little bastard. I normally find these bits with ease. Maybe I'll put it on top. No. It's a 1x1 grey square with a U clip on top of it. Should be either over here, which is not, or over here, which it is. Okay, good. What a bastard. And it all goes on this tiny little plate as well. That's the confusing bit. And I've made an error. Son of a bitch. Tell you what other film I saw as well. Fucking Johnny English. I don't even know. I feel like it's called Johnny English Strikes Back, but I genuinely don't know the title. All I knew it was like there's a new Johnny English coming out. I love Rowan Atkinson. For some reason, I fucking love Johnny English. I know they're not great. Okay, the first one was good. The second one was very much a sequel, and then I was like, this third one, it probably won't be any good. But so help me God, I'm going to see it and probably really enjoy it. Because I like Rowan Atkinson. I just find him very funny. He's one of those where I know there'll be loads of people who are like, who can't stand him, and I understand it, but he's one of those comedians where you know, you either do or you don't like him. And I went to see the film, and I fucking loved it. I was like, this. The humour in this is very safe. It's a little bit old-fashioned, you know, make fun of the French, old-fashioned. And at the same time, I was like, he's lamping a guy with a baguette. Hilarious. It's the sort of film that, you know, if someone said, what's one of your guilty pleasure films, I'd name that. And at the same time, I wouldn't have any guilt about it. So I've never liked like those guilty pleasure films. People often they'll just pick a film that they like that either didn't do well critically or didn't do well at the box office, but not both. So like they'll be like, "What's your guilty pleasure?" Oh, Avatar. It's like, oh, you really liked Avatar, the film that at the time was actually quite critically successful and was a box office smash, and now has dipped slightly in some people's opinions, but you know, it's still a massive film. That's not a guilty pleasure. I could maybe see Fast and Furious being an acceptable answer to a guilty pleasure film, in that I think they are just terrible and awful and no one should like them. But at the same time, if someone said they love those films, I wouldn't think they'd have to be guilty about that. I feel I'm trying to think what a properly acceptable answer to the guilty pleasure film question is. No, I can't think of anything. I think it's because inherently I don't often feel guilt. I feel the real guilty pleasure in the modern world is liking anime, isn't it? You don't want to let people know that you're into that. It's changed now, but back in the day, that was the answer, wasn't it? Okay, I'm actually doing pretty well. How are we going for time? Oh, yeah, I reckon. Probably not going to finish this cockpit because it does seem to have a lot more pieces left. No matter how done it looks, there's still a lot more to occur. This ain't going on. This ain't happening. Do you know what TV show no one talks about that's bloody brilliant? Fucking Legion. First series came out. I feel it got no buzz around it at all. I've just started watching the second series. Now, the thing about Legion is it's insane. Like the first season was very much insane. And I don't mean like in the way, that season of Game of Thrones is insane. They had those big battles, like all these people died at the end. I mean, it's like, I don't know what I'm watching. Things are happening, the walls are melting. I assume this is what it's like to be insane. That's what I mean. And Christ, it is a watch. Cinematography is great. God, I sound like such an arsehole saying that, but it just is. Okay, am I getting that right? I've just started watching the second season, and the thing about the first season is like you're watching it and you got no idea what's going on, no idea what's going on, no idea what's going on. Oh, I've got an idea what's going on. Goes nuts, dream sequence for ages, don't know what's going on, don't know what's going on. You get to the end, you're like, okay, I know what's going on. They've set up a second series. I know the rough idea. Like, you start the second series and you're like, what in the fuck is going on? I was like, in the first episode, it cut to black at one point. I was like, oh, that's the episode over then. That hour of television really flew by us. So much happened. I can't wait for next week. And then it came back on. I was like, hang on. I've been watching it for like 20 minutes. I was like, Christ, this is taxing to watch. This takes a lot of mental wherewithal. It's good though. Like 40 minutes in, I fell asleep, which I'd kind of expected to do. But it was like, you know, when you fall asleep and when you're nodding off. I was in bed, so it's fine. And like, the first thing you do that, and you're out for like maybe 5 seconds. You know you've gone out, and what your mind tricks you into thinking, don't turn the TV off. You're still watching it. It's fine. You'll just watch it with your eyes closed for a bit. And then you nod off properly is what happens. And then you normally lose like 30 minutes. What happened? I went like that. I came back to. I feel like everyone on screen was like dancing in a blue room, and I was like, I have to turn this off because I will have no idea. I was like, you can't miss this. Like, if you blink during that show, it feels like you've missed a fucking season. And I love the fact that it's kind of it's in the X-Men universe a bit, but like so not really. And it's like, yeah, we're gonna take our own setting with it. It's kind of our own thing, and it's the most comic booky thing there is to like have a new artist come on board, so have their own art style. And it's like, yeah, I just set it when I want. Continuity is not really a big issue. Just enjoy yourself with it. And it's what the X-Men films have been doing for a while, but they're a little bit too mainstream to be able to do it properly. And they run into issues like where you jump around like from X-Men First Class onwards to like Days of Future Past and Apocalypse. It goes like 60s, 70s, 80s. So we're jumping forward 10 years each one to give it like a different look stylistically and change things around. But then we'll use the same actors. So like Nicholas Hoult has to be like 60 at this point, or we're at the point where James McAvoy has 5 years to turn into Patrick Stewart. And you're like, I could buy it when they were 40 years apart, but like, we know what Patrick Stewart looked like 10 years ago. The only trick they have got in their favour is that for some reason, the first X-Men film, and I swear like the world has forgotten this, started by saying in the not too distant future. So they never actually put a time on it. So it could have been like the year 2000-ish when it was kind of released. I think it came out in 2001 maybe. Or it could be like 2010. And anywhere between like 2000 and 2040 is pretty realistic. Because they had like some futuristic technology, but not an insane amount. That's the key with that film that I feel like the whole critical world has forgotten. Which is fair enough. It did come out an indiscriminate amount of time ago. So the other important thing about Legion as a TV show is doing something for a superhero TV show that wouldn't really work on the big screen. I feel like a lot of the TV shows about superheroes make the error of like trying to make it kind of cinema-y in like the action and the abilities and powers, and it's like you haven't got the budget for it. Or if we're gonna, like with Arrow, his stick shoots arrows, doesn't he? Sort of his main thing. It's good in a fist fight. That works on screen because he only needs to have, like in a big film, you probably have 3 or 4 fights, 3 or 4 times he fires his bow. It's fine. But in Arrow, he kind of has to do it, you know, every episode really for 20 episodes for 5 seasons. It's sort of, you know, you suddenly solve every single problem with a bow and arrow, which is fine. And then Flash comes along and he's fast and like, oh, how are you going to beat this villain? He's faster than you, but you're the fastest man alive. you did it at the end. You got faster than him, so you won. Next season rolls around. This guy's even faster. Fuck me, you won't believe how fast he is. He is to you as you are to regular people. That first guy, he was a bit faster than you. Like, you would be running, he'd be ahead of you. This other guy, he leaves you for dust. End of the season. But you beat him, Barry. You got quicker somehow. You did it. Next season, this man is so quick you would not believe it. Imagine the fastest thing ever. Used to be you, not anymore. It's him now. Right, I've made this. Combine somehow. I'm thinking I'm supposed to... Yeah, I see. I skipped a step. This is meant to already be on. That's why I'm confused. I feel briefly the like the Netflix Marvel series were getting it right, because they're like 10 episode runs, fairly solid story throughout. You know, we've gone for heroes that kind of make more sense on this screen. They started doing that. They kind of didn't towards the end, and then it was very much like, well, we've actually only got eight episodes worth of content. We're building up to Defenders. They did the Defenders, and then they're like, now what? And that whole thing seems to be crumbling down. Iron Fist got cancelled. Now Luke Cage has been cancelled. It's all over the shop. I've never met another person who likes Jessica Jones. I've never really seen anyone say anything bad about it. I just never see anyone who likes it. Okay, next page. Oh, after this, it goes on. That'll be exciting. I think we're about to hit the timer going off, so I'm gonna say now my goal is to finish this page and attach the damn thing. Don't know how it's going to attach, but I'm assuming these two linking arms are going to be a factor. Don't get me wrong, I liked Arrow, I liked Flash, I liked Supergirl. You know, the first few seasons, great. And then in classic American style, it was like, where do we go from here? You know, the show's big, we've got to keep going. Don't really have much more in the way of storylines. We're pretty much just going to start repeating ourselves for a while. What we'll do is, season 1, we'll set up a will they, won't they relationship, right? They'll get together at the end, or they'll kiss at the end. Season 2, you know, we'll have them just in the fledgling states of their relationships of like, you know, are these crazy kids going to make it? Then by the end, we'll you know, they'll be solid, they'll make it. Season 3, we're just going to break them up for no real reason. You know, you don't want your characters being happy together. The young teen demographic doesn't like that. They like drama. I like watching happily married people. Thank you very much. Give me Pam and Jim in The Office. Right. In the TV series episodes starring Joey from Friends, not Matt LeBlanc, Joey from Friends, he explained perfectly why you can't do that will they, won't they thing in American TV for very long. It's like, yeah, British series, that works fine because you're on the air for like 3 weeks. That's okay, or it runs for 3 years, but that's only like 20 episodes, so it works. But you do that in American series where like you're saying will they, won't they for fucking ever. Just doesn't work. All right, where does this go? I think I may have made this whole section mirrored by accident. Where did I go wrong? Ah. No. Okay, let's just take some bits off. I've skipped ahead too much, haven't I? 3, 4, 5, 3. Okay, this is correct. Okay. 4 of those. These 2. Oh, I see what I've done. I just connected it to the wrong bit. That's fine. It was all fine. I didn't need to rip it apart the way I did. I regret all of that. There we go. Sorted it. It all works perfectly. Let's get that back together. That overhangs by 1. Perfect. He says, assuming that he's got it all wrong. It's all totally gone to shit. Hell in a handbasket. Never like that saying. There we go. That's nice. That's nice. I was having a quick perusal around the various digital gaming retailers there are, which is basically code for you look at Steam, see what sales are on, then you look at Humble, see what they're doing, and then maybe if there's time you look at GOG or GOG. You play in Origin. You have a quick look around. Origin has become more and more important to look at because they don't put their games on Steam. So if you're like me, you can kind of completely forget when something like that comes out. You're like, oh fuck me, I forgot Mass Effect was even a thing. It's just good to have a look around. You never know what crazy deals will be on. And I was like, will I finally buy the expansion for Civ 6? And I was like, no, I'll wait for them to do another one. It hasn't had like great reviews, and I'm not quite there yet. So I'll wait for that. And then I was like, maybe I should buy the DLC for The Witcher. I was like, no, you haven't even finished the fucking thing yet. Finish the main story. Then you can think about getting like Blood and Wine and Hearts of Stone. And if memory serves, Hearts of Stone was like, it's good, nothing superb. And Blood and Wine is like, oh yes, it's very good. You should get this one. I'll do both, obviously. If I'm gonna do either, I'll do both. But finish the damn thing first. I couldn't believe I was like, yes, maybe I'll buy the expansions. I still haven't finished the game after like 4 fucking years. But the thing is, it is a brilliant game just to jump back into, because if you're partway through a quest, like the quest log does a great job of telling you like where you're at and stuff. And then when you start the game, it gives you a quick rundown of like the main story, what's going on. And then I was in fact doing a quest, and I was like, I can't remember who all these people are. And then you just go into like the bio section, and it's like, oh yeah, this guy, this fella, he's a shapeshifter. You know him from here, here, and here. Here's where he is in the main quest, and it updates the bio like relative to what you've done with them. And it's not too much. It's not like a 5-page essay. It's like just brief. It's genius. Okay, so I just need to add one small bit of detailing, which looks a little bit like a lightsaber. In fact, it looks a lot like a lightsaber. In fact, I'm pretty sure it is a lightsaber. Right, now I've added that. Now this goes in. I think it slots in to here. Yes, this looks actually quite correct. Right, so I've got to apply some force. There we go. And it's in. And then this little wandering arm just sort of continues to wander. So turn that over. You know what? I am actually going to do a couple more pieces, just because they seem to be adding structural support more than anything else, and I don't want to leave it in a situation without structural support. I think this is correct. That's 6, yeah. Remember the halcyon days of just building like a framework that looked nothing like anything? I could pick the whole thing up with ease and apply pressure in any direction I wanted. Those were the days. Also, any excuse to use the word halcyon. It's a $10 word, that one. I'm quite fond of that phrase, $10 word. Right, so now so this comes across and should line up square. Oh, no, it's on a hinge. It's on a bit of a hinge. Ah, there we go. Okay. Right, now I've locked that in. That's like 2 points of contact, so it should be pretty sturdy. Okay, and then the next section, I think, is building the tunnel that goes from the cockpit back towards this long section here, which I still haven't actually attached this to, and I really need to. I've now realised the way to do that might actually be just to put both of them on at once and just squeeze from the outside. So I might try that after the video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time for more of this, but not that much more actually. There's a few bits of detailing over here to do. There's this centre section, and that'll be roughly it, I think. There must be something to go in here because this looks like shit, but other than that, we're getting there, aren't we? We're getting there. Also, how do people do those pictures where they're holding the whole thing in their arms? That's insane. Not because of the weight, just because it's unwieldy. Yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.